That's 9 things in the mental health. Are they all the same people?
Jeremy and Dominguez Jeremy Young and Virginia Dominguez have 8 total, and there's Neil has 1.
Great. I found it. I muted it. All right. Let's launch meeting. All right, let's see what we got. So we need Tony, Claudia.
On there.
Morning, Judge.
Morning, guys.
So,
Hey, Catherine.
Hi, Anthony. Hi, Claudia.
which one is yours, Catherine?
Neil.
Neil. We have Neil.
Yes, sir. Neil. Hi, Tony.
Who, Tony?
Glad to have you back, Tony.
Thank you.
Not Neil Young, it's just Neil. He'll be young too. Figured it out. All right, it's a possession controlled substance. Sydney Neal, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And did you want to call your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you would raise your right hand and be sworn, Mr. Young, Mr. Neal. You swear or affirm testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I do have a copy of the mental health assessment. I will consider it for the purpose of hearing, and you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sydney, what are your mental health diagnoses?
Bipolar, schizophrenia with depression, anxiety.
Okay. And where do you go to get treatment when you're not in jail?
Metro care.
Okay. Metro Care in Dallas?
Yes.
Okay. And who do you live with when you're not in jail?
I'm normally with my brother. Not my brother. I'm at Salvation. I'm in at the bridge.
Okay, so you live at the shelter called the Bridge and sometimes with your brother?
Yes.
Okay, last time you were here, judge gave you a mental health bond and you didn't show up for check-in. And so your bond got revoked. What are you going to do differently this time?
This time I'm definitely gonna make sure I have a ride to get back and forth, even if, in Uber myself, even if I don't have my brother to help me out.
Okay. Do you see Miss Tony on the video? Tony wave. Okay. You have to call her every single week. And I think last time we might have had some problems with you calling. Do you understand that if you don't call her every week and she doesn't know where you are, the judge will revoke your bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand if you get a bond for mental health, you have to go to Metro Care and get back on any medicines you're on? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you willing to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Does the state have any questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Neal, where does your brother live?
Princeton, Texas.
In Princeton, and would he, if you lived with him, would he be the one taking you to and from court?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And since you've been in jail, have they been giving you any medication?
No, not really.
Have they given you some?
Yeah, but it's not working.
It's not working? Okay. State has no further questions.
So the plan is to live with your brother in Princeton?
Yes, sir. Sometimes stay with him and then at the bridge.
Well, because if you're staying in Princeton, you wouldn't be getting Metro Care services.
I mean, life, just if I stay with him, I'll probably just go to the shelter because I need more help.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the question is, do you know what you're going to do, where you're going to stay and all that?
I think my best bet is going to be the shelter because I can get more help.
You can get more help by staying at the shelter?
Yes, sir. Metro Care.
Okay.
They can take me back. It'd be easy going back and forth to Metro Care.
Okay. Catherine, do you have any other questions from?
No, sir.
Okay, you rest.
Yes, sir.
Anything else from the state?
I'd just like to read the criminal history into the record, Your Honor.
Okay.
In 2005, the defendant was arrested for reckless driving and given 12 months probation. He was subsequently revoked after being sentenced and then sentenced to 60 days. He was also arrested on that same day for fail to ID, also given 12 months probation and subsequently revoked for 60 days. In January of 2011, he was arrested for assault causing bodily injury to a family member. In that case was released without prosecution. On the same day, he was also arrested for assault bodily injury to a family member with more than 2 times within 12 months with a 3rd-degree felony. And he was given 3 years deferred on that. In 2011, he was arrested for burglary of habitation and released without prosecution. And again, in 2011, he was arrested for ag assault, deadly weapon, and released without prosecution. And same day, he was arrested for fraudulently using or possessing identifying info, and he was given 3 years deferred. In 2013, he was arrested for assault causing bodily injury with a previous conviction, and given 5 years deferred, and he was subsequently revoked and given 2 years TDCJ. And then in 2015, he was arrested for injury to a child, elderly, or disabled person, and that was no billed. And then in 2021, he was arrested for criminal trespass in McKinney and given 20 days jail. And then this most recent case, or I guess before this case, he was arrested by Plano PD in June of 2021 and convicted to 180 days as a state jail felony before picking up this most previous case.
Anything else?
That's it, Your Honor. State rests.
Any argument from the state?
Based off him previously being given a mental health bond and his criminal history, the state would oppose it at this time.
Your criminal history is, I'm surprised sort of that I gave you a bond before, but your criminal history is too much. I don't really think your plan for getting help is good enough. And so I'm going to deny a bond at this time, and we'll let you get your case taken care of some other way. Okay. Good luck. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
All right. We need, you can pick either one of the other two. Mr. Young?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you want to call your client testify?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you would raise your right hand and be sworn. You swear or affirm testimony about to give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you can proceed. Do have a copy of the mental health assessment. I will consider for the purpose of this hearing.
Thank you, Judge. Jeremy, I'm calling you just for the purpose of this mental health hearing. All right. We're not going to get into the facts of the case or anything else. You've met with a professional who did a mental health assessment, and you do have a mental illness. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand what that is and are willing to comply with any professional treatment plan that's put in place for you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
You understand that you would be required to check in with a caseworker weekly and with the court at least monthly.
Yes, ma'am.
And the caseworker's on with us today. I don't know if you can see her, Tony Fox. That's who you'd be checking in with. Do you understand
ma'am.
that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a place to live?
I do. Yes.
And who is that with?
Leave my mother in Arlington.
All right. And does she have a vehicle that you are able to use or that she's able to transport you to any meetings and to treatment?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I have no further questions. I'll pass the witness.
Does the state have any questions?
Just a few, Your Honor. Mr. Young, have you ever been given treatment in the past for your mental health disorders?
I was seeing a therapist for anxiety and depression.
And do you know what were you given any medications at that time?
Yes, I'm on Zoloft.
Zoloft. And are you getting Zoloft at the jail now?
Yes, sir, I am.
Do you feel like it's helping you?
Yes, sir.
You said you live with your mother. Would you drive yourself to and from court, or would your mom be the one to take you to and from your court appearances?
That would probably be my mother.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defendant?
No, Your Honor, we'll rest.
All right. Anything else from the state?
Your Honor, I'd like to read the criminal history into the record.
Okay.
In 2000, Mr. Young was arrested for theft of service and convicted and sentenced and served 5 days in jail in Tarrant County. He was arrested most recently for these 4 cases: ag assault with a deadly weapon, assault bodily injury, driving while intoxicated. And then his out-of-state criminal history reads as in the Morgan County Sheriff's Department, which I believe is in Indianapolis. In 2004, he was arrested for intimidation, and he was sentenced to 1 year probation. In 2007, he was arrested for resisting and disorderly conduct and given 1 year probation. In 2008, he was arrested for battery and criminal recklessness, and both those cases ended up being dismissed. In 2010, he was arrested for domestic battery and strangulation. No charges were ever filed on those cases. In 2010, again, he was arrested for domestic battery. That case was again dismissed. In 2011, he was arrested again for domestic battery and interfering with the reporting of a crime. Those cases were subsequently dismissed. In 2012, he was arrested for operating while intoxicated, endangering a person, and given 1 year probation. In 2014, he was arrested for possession of paraphernalia and given 1 year probation or 180 days probation. In 2015, he was arrested for possession of meth and possession of drug paraphernalia. And those cases were subsequently, I believe he pled guilty, but we don't have the actual punishment. And then in 2018, he was arrested for another, again, unlawful possession of a syringe with no prosecution or punishment data. In 2020, he was arrested again for possession of drug paraphernalia and auto theft, and he was sentenced to, that case was not prosecuted. And at this time, the state rests and closed.
Any argument from the state?
Due to the nature of these current cases he has here and his criminal history, the state would oppose a mental health PR bond. And if given one, we would ask that the conditions of a protective order that are currently in place be imposed as well.
No. Well, I'm not going to give bonds on these charges. They're too dangerous, too violent, and so I'm going to deny bond this time. Good luck.
Thank you, Judge.
Then we have
Those charges weren't me.
Yeah, but what he's saying is that even your current charges are too dangerous for you to get this kind of bond. I get what you're trying to say about your criminal history, but I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Okay? But he's saying your current charges are too much. Okay?
can we have
Sorry,
Ms. Dominguez when you get a chance. All right, Virginia Dominguez, is that right?
Yes.
All right, and I do have a copy of the mental health assessment. I'll consider it for the purpose of this hearing. Did you want to call your client?
Yes, Judge, for the limited purpose of this bond hearing.
Okay, if you would raise your right hand and be sworn. You swear or affirm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right.
Virginia, you understand that we are only testifying in regard to this mental health bond. We're not getting into facts of the cases or anything like that, okay? And so you understand that you've been assessed and that you do have a mental health issue. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And that's something that's been ongoing through some period of your life. Is that right?
Yes.
And are you currently on medication?
Yes, I'm taking the medicine. The jail prescribed 2, I believe, and I'm taking them.
All right. If the court is to let you out on a mental health bond, you understand that you would be required to continue to comply with treatment and medication.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you would be expected to check in weekly with a caseworker who's with us here today on video, Tony Fox. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you'll be required to check in with the court as well.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a home that you live in, reside in alone. Is that right?
With my dogs. Yes.
And you have a working vehicle.
Yes.
You have someone that is coordinated to be able to pick you up if the judge lets you out on this mental health bond. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you'll continue to reside here in Collin County and will get yourself to and from treatment or any meetings that you're ordered to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're completely willing to follow the orders of the court today. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'll pass the witness.
Any questions from the state?
Just a few, Your Honor. Ms. Dominguez, do you currently have a driver's license?
Yes.
Okay. And have you, since you've been in jail, or I guess if you could just tell the court, have you been suicidal at all in your past?
Yes, I have.
When was the last time you had any suicidal ideations?
I can't really tell you. Like, I've had a lot of losses in the last 28 months. I couldn't tell you right now. I don't know. I say things, like, I don't know.
Okay. And what mental health or issues have you been diagnosed with?
The jail has diagnosed me with bipolar, and outside of the jail, I've been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and I'm not sure what else, but I've been on my medicine and I feel pretty stable.
So you've been receiving medication while you've been in jail?
Yes. Yes.
And you feel like it is helping you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defendant?
Just very briefly, Judge. Virginia, the suicidal ideation and things like that, you had a bout of a pretty dark time. You lost your daughter in a pretty bad car accident about 2 years ago. Is that right?
Yes.
And then last year you lost both of your parents to COVID within a 2-week time period.
Yes.
All right. So you have been struggling with stability, and those are things you recognize you need help for. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Anything else from the state?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Any argument?
At this time, we would oppose it for the mental health or due to the mental health assessment.
Well, I think the charges alone are enough to deny serious charges, and I'm not going to grant mental health bonds on those charges. So I'm going to deny bond this time. Your lawyer, you take care of the case some other way. Good luck. Thank you all.
Thank you, Judge.